In this video, I will cover three main topics. First, I will be addressing Gamespot's too low score for Lords of the Fallen and sharing my thoughts on their bad review. Then I will dive into my personal experience with Lords of the Fallen in the second part. Finally, in the third section, I will compare Lords of the Fallen with Lies of P and draw a conclusion about which game has an upper edge. So starting with the first section, Gamespot gave Lords of the Fallen a 5 out of 10 score. That's a pretty bad score, man. Gamespot never surprises in giving shitty reviews. Whoever has reviewed Lords of the Fallen from Gamespot should seriously be fired. Let's see what Gamespot wrote about Lords of the Fallen. Lords of the Fallen has all the right Souls-like element. Its disjointed pacing and painful checkpoint system make much of a game a slow and frustrating march. Okay, so that's your point? I don't think these points justify a 5 out of 10 score. It feels like the review has been given by someone who lacks presence of mind to explore Lords of the Fallen properly. I know its map is a bit complicated and gets a bit frustrating sometimes, as it was in Elden Ring, but exploring and finding your destinations in these games take your mind and patience to a higher level, and that becomes more engaging for true gamers. Lord of the Fallen provides so many continuous checkpoints in short distances to make saves easy, bro, and GameSpots are saying checkpoints are painful? How come, bro? The game encourages us to dive deeper into its world, uncovering hidden surprises and challenges that demand strategic thinking. If GameSpot review is influenced by difficulties in fully grasping and navigating Lord of the Fallen, it's not fair to judge based on lack of understanding or exploration. I know, bro, Lord of the Fallen is having some rough edges. Running and walking in Lord of the Fallen feels a bit different from Souls-like game. It has some bugs too, but the gameplay is both deep and interesting, somewhat similar to that of Elden Ring, creating an immersive and enjoyable experience that truly captivates players and keeps them absorbed in its intriguing world. Now let's dive into the second part of this video, where I will share my personal experience. I will discuss how I felt when I initially started the game and how my perspective has evolved after playing for 30 hours. To be honest, the beginning of the Lords of the Fallen left me somewhat disappointed. Going in, I hadn't seen any gameplay, and since it's a remake, I expected high quality graphics and visuals. However, the graphics, movement and combat all felt a bit rough. Though the combat mechanics was good, but hitting and parrying didn't quite click. Lord of the Fallen felt decent but didn't meet my initial expectations, bro. As I continued playing Lord of the Fallen and progressed further, what really drew me in was the ability to upgrade and shape my character according to my preferences. The initial character choice doesn't limit your options significantly, allowing you to customize your character as a strong soldier, a nimble assassin or a sorcerer with a magic abilities and much more. The flexibility in the character development reminded me of Elden Ring. I choose to be a fast-paced, strong soldier as I personally focus more on strength and dexterity, but I'm also excited to use some sorceries, which I will do later. As I continued in the game, the ways of combat steadily improved, introducing a wide array of engaging options for both close and long-range battles, some of which were quite surprising. What made it even more intriguing was the flexibility in combat approaches. You could wield weapons in both hands, opt for a one-handed weapon and shield, change your postures, utilize sorceries, employ a bow, throw javelins, use bombs, or even wield poison knives, and much more. The more I've dived into the game, the more I realized it had tons of elements, exploration and possibilities waiting to be uncovered, and that really started to excite me more. I thought Lords of the Fallen would be easier for me since I did just almost finish Lies of P, which had a tough combat, really tough combat. However, I was wrong. When I faced the first boss in Lords of the Fallen, I initially thought it would be an easy task for me, but I soon realized it wasn't that simple. Just a couple of hits could take me down, and sometimes even a single hit proved fatal. Some of the boss's moves were unclear though, especially the third monster boss. I found that parrying worked well for smaller bosses or mini bosses, but for the giant monster bosses, dodging was my go-to strategy, as parrying wasn't that effective with the bigger size bosses. During all the boss fights, patience was the key. You have to carefully wait for the right moment to land one or two hits on the bosses. Playing it safe and waiting for your opening was crucial, and defeating these bosses required a significant amount of time, bro. However, once I defeat them, I felt that, yeah, I am the man, bro, yeah. Exploration becomes the most valuable aspect of Lords of the Fallen, especially as you spend more time in the game. It offers various directions to explore and discover your next destinations. Despite having many areas to cover, none of them bored me, as the enemies were so intriguing. They continuously keep on coming and not let you bored, but they also may irritate you sometime as well, because you know the enemies keep on coming, you keep on dying, you have to again respawn, do the same thing, so sometimes it gets a bit irritating. In the exploration part, this game somewhat gives me the feeling of Elden Ring. I'm not saying this game is anywhere near Elden Ring. Of course, Elden Ring is a legendary game, but even giving some vibe of that game is a big achievement in itself, right? I love the part where using the lamp in the game will help you to move into another demonic soul dimension, which is called the Umbral Realm, and I found it really amazing and cool. The thrill of navigating this dark dimension, racing against time while facing new enemies and atmosphere is both exciting and chilling. There are some paths in Lords of the Fallen which can only be found in Umbral Realm, and I love to use my mind to explore and find surprising paths which leads me to the next destination. The concept of respawning in Umbral Realm upon defeat in the real world is engaging. It adds urgency as I must swiftly find the closing points to return to the real world with enough time to fight my way out. It really always increases my heartbeat, yet if I meet my end in the Umbral Realm, it's game over for me, baby. I also found great satisfaction in using the lamp's power to temporarily extract enemy souls, and beating the shit out of enemies for limited duration is another fantastic cool feature of Lords of the Fallen. I also appreciate the multiplayer system in the game. When I am facing challenging section with many enemies or tough boss fights, sometimes it gets too exhausting getting continuously thrashed by enemies and not able to progress. However, the multiplayer option comes to the rescue, allowing me to make progress and explore more of the game's world, which I am quite excited about, bro. What I also love to do sometimes is that actually I will try to grind and get more vigor in order to upgrade my levels and get a bit more powerful over the enemies. That would make a game a bit less tough, you know, and a lot of people do that. Mostly in Souls, like, if there is an option. Discovering weapon upgrade materials is very thrilling since they are rare to come by, and every time I enhance my weapons, it makes a significant difference in their effectiveness. This boost becomes increasingly important in combat, especially as the enemies become tougher as we progress through the game, bro. Over time, I also grew to appreciate the combat system more in Lords of the Fallen. I actually felt the combat less intriguing in the initial stages in Lord of the Fallen, I will say, because I was influenced by the combat of Lies of P, which had really a cleaner and a smooth combat system. Yeah, bro. After spending 30 hours in Lord of the Fallen, my enthusiasm is at its peak to explore further into Lord of Fallen. With its continuous improvement as I play, I believe the game deserves at least an 8 out of 10 score. Yeah, bro. Now let's shift our focus on the third section of the video, where I will compare these two amazing Souls-like games, that is Lies of P and Lords of the Fallen. I will keep it concise, bro. Lies of P had a way cleaner combat, I would say, than Lord of the Fallen. The combat in Lies of P were very smooth and we can easily understand and see the fast enemy moves properly. But in Lord of the Fallen, the combat mechanics are good, but they look rough, and sometimes it also happens the moves doesn't look very clear. They are also not that visually appealing. Talking about character development, Lies of P provide a lot of character upgrades and a good skill tree, and it doesn't feel that anything is missing in it. But to me, Lord of the Fallen gave more options as to how I want to make my character to participate in combats. As I previously said, Lord of the Fallen have give really good options for both close and long range combat, so I have more different ways to fight in Lord of the Fallen as compared to Lies of P. I think that Lies of P has more better and cooler weapons, but Lord of the Fallen has more number of weapons and they are quite good as well. I enjoyed boss fights in Lies of P more than in Lord of the Fallen, as the bosses have cleaner moves and combats also feels more engaging in Lies of P, yeah. But I also enjoyed the bosses of Lord of the Fallen as well. In Lies of P, bosses attack quickly, and if you can parry perfectly, you can defeat them swiftly. However, parrying is quite challenging due to their tough and sudden attack. Dodging helps a lot too. You can't run away from them as they close in very fast. In Lords of the Fallen, you usually have more space to keep your distance from bosses. I use parrying and dodging for smaller bosses and only dodging when facing larger ones. Both games require different combat tactics. I love to explore in Lord of the Fallen more as compared to that of Lies of P, as Lies of P has limited areas and the boss fights will frequently occur, but in case of the Lords of the Fallen, you have to travel more into the depths of the game, have to be smarter to crack out the right paths. There are a lot of new stuffs you will understand while playing Lord of the Fallen, as the game has a lot to give. Lord of the Fallen provides more of things as compared to Lies of P that can be used in combat. See, in Lies of P, I was very amazed from the start, but the excitement becomes constant after some time. However, in Lords of the Fallen, the beginning might have felt slow, but the enjoyment and the excitement continuously increased as I progressed through the game. So both of these games have their own ups and downs, but I would say that Lies of P, being a smaller game, what they have provided looks perfect and there are no easy drawbacks to take out. But in Lords of the Fallen, there are some drawbacks which we can easily pick. But personally, to me, I am enjoying both of the games very effectively, and both of them are one of my favorites this year. Of course, after Baldur's Gate 3. So you tell in comments which game would you prefer out of these two. Hey, have a great day. Love from India. Chak de.